Welcome friends, welcome back to the kitchen. Welcome back to Sunday Morning in the Old Cookbook Show. Today we're going to do something out of this book. It is called Success in Seasoning. It was put out by Lee & Perrins. They of course make Worcester sauce, so we're going to be using their Worcester sauce. And this was published in 1936, very much a product of its time in a certain way. And in another way, it is all about things that are aspirational. It's definitely sort of looking at that upper crust of American society that had money to spend. And even in the depths of the Depression, there was that group of people. And this is firmly, squarely targeted at them. So today we're going to do something called the Surprise Meat Roll. And I'm not sure exactly why I chose this other than I thought it might be challenging to get the shape right. The whole idea is that it's sort of a meatloaf and it's wrapped around mashed potatoes. And there's also very little seasoning in it. In fact, the only seasoning is salt and Worcester sauce. It doesn't call for anything in the potatoes except for salt. So I have the potatoes here, and the idea is I'm supposed to form them into a cylinder. Now I've done this on a piece of waxed paper, and my hope is that I can use the waxed paper to get a really nice tight roll up. This looks pretty good. I'm just going to set it aside and we'll move on to the meat. And so I have here a couple of pounds of ground beef shank. To that I'm going to add salt, 1 egg, and 2 tablespoons of Worcester sauce. And then I'm just going to work this together with my hands, get it mixed together really well. That's looking pretty good. Now, I have another piece of waxed paper here. I'm going to take the meat out, and it says to press it out into 1/3 of an inch thickness. So the idea is that it needs to completely wrap around the potatoes. So I'm going to use the potato piece as a bit of a size guide to make sure that I've got the length right. And then it's just about the width. Okay, now unwrap the potato, put it in the middle, and then wrap around the potato. Okay, we just make sure that the meat is completely wrapped around the potato, so it's an actual surprise when you cut into it. That looks pretty good. Now, I'm just going to transfer this to a baking tray that I have here with some parchment paper on it, just so that it doesn't stick. I've got the oven preheated to 375, it tells me, and it calls 375 a moderate oven, and that's within the range of what we would think of today as a moderate oven, somewhere in that 325 to 375 range. Although in these old cookbooks I have seen moderate ovens called for anywhere between 300 and 400, so there is a little bit of play there. Into the oven, half an hour.
Hey Glenn,
Hey Jules.
that looks like it needs a fork.
Yes, it will need a fork. So we had a bit of a blowout. I wrapped it and I tried to get the meat to stick together at the seam, but it didn't stick together at the seam. And
Well, I mean, in all fairness, when
Potato
was the
blowout.
last time you tried to roll some meat that way?
this is the very first time I've ever rolled ground meat around potato.
So I think you did a great job. Next time.
Next time, I'll pinch it a little bit better. And so, I mean,
So the potatoes will be all, gravy already, I'm assuming.
okay. So the potatoes have flavor from the meat. There's not a whole lot of flavor in this.
No, but it's it's very simple.
It is very simple. It is very simple. And I
Would
think,
I add onions?
oh, I would add onions. I would
Yes.
probably put cheese in with the potato to make the potato hold together a little bit better. Maybe a little bit of
You could also put carrots in the middle or any other root vegetable.
mash. Yeah, put
Then
them
you,
in.
Then you wouldn't have to actually cook extras on the side. It's like reverse shepherd's pie.
Yes. and I would also put more stuff in the meat.
Yeah.
At least some ground pepper. I think
This
this.
isn't even ground pepper.
No, there's no ground pepper.
Oh wow.
The only flavor is salt and Leon Parents. And I think there's two things going on there. I think that in 1936, they're probably cutting down on the expense of spices, keeping it simple. You've got meat and potatoes and a little bit of flavoring, and you can make it work.
Try to scoop some.
But I think for today's palate, it needs more.
It may have needed more then.
It probably did need more then.
I mean, we all have family members who only just, they cook the turnip, they mash the turnip, they serve it to you. Right? So everyone's different. I think it's a great base, though. I think it's got great room to grow.
you could take this in a lot of directions.
Yeah.
You really could take this in a lot of directions.
And depending upon how your rolling skills are, it's a surprise.
It would have been a surprise. So, is this something your family makes? And what do you do to dress it up? Tell us how you would dress this up and make it your own.
And any tips on how to get it rolled properly is also
Hold together.
appreciated.
Thanks for stopping by. See you again soon.